Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm back once again. It's D-Man the Great, and I'm returning to give you the next 5 on that Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I know you're looking at this 2K footage in the background, but don't mind the 2K footage. I'm about to give you my next 5 films. Now, this part is going to be very controversial because I feel as if you can pretty much flip number 18 on this list to maybe, you could go pretty much, you could flip these any way you want. You could kind of mix them around, mix and match. But I'm going just going, when I have a tough decision to make between films, I go by the film that I enjoy the most personally. But I'm in this dilemma right now with these films. And I've rated 1 in this particular slot pretty harshly. Now, for those of you that don't remember the first 5, we're going to just hit those real quick. I'm going to just tell you, because we had number -1 or number 23. It was The Incredible Hulk. I don't count it as an MCU film, so I don't really talk about it too much. Then it's Thor the Dark World at 22, 21, Iron Man 2, 20, Thor, and 19, Iron Man 3. Alright, and now we're going to get into number 18. Now, number 18 is something very difficult for me to put right here, because I feel it has its great qualities, and it's really on par with a majority of the 5 that are going to be listed today. I've really equalized all of these films here, but there's one that's unequal that I don't really put equal with these films, but due to the fact that it's what it is, I'm gonna put it low here because of what it should have been and what it wasn't. Alright, but Doctor Strange is number 18. It's a great origin story with amazing visuals. It's kind of scary a little bit because, like, just Dormammu and Cassilis is actually one of the creepiest looking villains in the verse. And the lead is pretty cool. Doctor Strange is a pretty dope character. The humor is hilarious, like with Wong listening to single ladies while Strange is taking books in the background. Alright, but the cons is that this is kind of flat in the middle of phase. This kind of like it's at the very beginning of phase 3 out in theaters. And it's kind of a casual. So if you're a casual fan, you probably wouldn't have went and seen it in theaters. But it's like, oh, it was Doctor Strange. It was a Marvel movie. Probably should have seen it. But the thing is, a casual fan wouldn't have got up to go see Doctor Strange in theaters, and that's a con for me. And that's really the only major con. It's only down this low because I enjoy the other films more than this one. Necessarily, I enjoyed Doctor Strange the least out of the 5 listed right now that I'm gonna mention. Alright, number 17, this is very controversial now, and I'm gonna say Avengers Age of Ultron. And it's really tough for me to say that because it was like really the first film that I really went and seen of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The first movie that I saw in theaters for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the pros and cons of it are, it's a great film, it's well acted, they had some pretty great long action sequences. And the cons is it's the worst Avengers film, well, not the worst, but like the weakest Avengers film of all of them. And it comes from another point that I mentioned earlier, is that a lot of these films were limited in the story due to the Endgame and Infinity War, and that's a pro that those two get later on down the line. But the thing is, being severely limited by the future films, oh, we gotta save this for later on, is really harming your film, and that's a bad thing. And that's the only, and it's kind of just, they had to kind of set up phase 3, which was a con as well, because it's like they didn't really get the opportunity to be they didn't get to do everything. Like, they didn't get to do all the things they could have been doing in that particular film. And it's terrible that they didn't get to do it, but what can you do? But it is the weakest Avengers film. And it has that dubious honor of that just because of the iconicness of the first and just the sheer blockbuster knockdown, all out drag out of the other ones. Like it lacks the threat of the others. Like, you know, Ultron isn't gonna beat the Avengers in Age of Ultron. You know that they gotta fight Thanos down the line. So I'm gonna move on to the next one. Hopefully you're not mad at me by now. It hurts for me to put it there, but I had to do it. Alright, number 16. I enjoy Age of Ultron a lot more than this film, but this film was pretty good, and I think it deserves more than a low score. I just gave Age of Ultron a lower score because it's like, oh, this film kind of deserves something a little bit on the upper side, just so it can kind of establish its own as itself. Because really, it's a solo film, and it came out this year, made 1.1 billion. Well, I don't know if didn't it make 1.6 billion or like 1.2 billion? It made $1 billion at the box office. Captain Marvel is number 16. Now, the reason why I put this in there is at number 16 and above the ones that I put it above is because I'm kind of feeling it a bit more at this time. I'd have to rewatch the other ones, but due to they'd have to deal with the world building as much as the others because they had pretty much all of it. But we got the pros and cons of it are they had a pretty great twist because they the trailers made it seem like, oh, there's Captain Marvel, she's gonna fight the Skrulls. The Skrulls are the bad guys. They're switching bodies. She defeats the Skrulls and it's over. But no, they had a twist and flipped the whole thing. They flipped the whole thing upside down, and the Skrulls were actually the good guys, which was pretty different for the source material, and it was pretty great to see. And the action was pretty good. The story was decent. Nick Fury is great because it's good seeing Samuel L. Jackson actually get an active role in just an active action role as Nick Fury, because really he never really had that big action. He never was a part of the team really. Like, he was in the movies, but he was never on the team. He was never fighting alongside the heroes, and it was good to see him fighting alongside the heroes for once. And then the characters were were really good in that film as well. Now, the kinds of Captain Marvel are necessarily not movie flaws, but there's one movie flaw I'm gonna mention, is that Captain Marvel is too unstoppable. Now, there's nobody that's a physical threat to Captain Marvel in the MCU, and that's kind of bad. It's like, oh, I want to be nervous, just whether or not, like, minor spoiler for Spider-Man, is when he was about to get shot in the face by Beck. I was actually kind of nervous that he was going to get shot in the face. I was able to trick my mind into thinking that he could actually get shot in the head, as Spider-Man did, for the rest of the movie. But I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I was able to trick myself into thinking that to make myself enjoy the film more. But the thing is, Captain Marvel is just way too unstoppable. You're not penetrating the supernova Captain Marvel where her hair is flaming and all that good stuff. And the other cons are non-movie related cons, but the anti-SJW hate that Captain Marvel gets, because Captain Marvel is propped up as this huge woman power character, and a lot of these guys out here really don't like that type of stuff, and then it's very disgusting to see how much hate the character and the actress gets because of that. And it's just awful all around, because it's disgusting to have a movie brought down by haters just because of that in case. And then it's like, it's not like all this other crap, leave that out of the movies. It doesn't matter. Go see the movie you want to go see. I don't know how you get peeved by these folks out here. I'm not gonna let nobody ruin my enjoyment of something because I don't like a certain way people do things. That's not how you behave. And then the other con is, it's right between Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. That comes back later on as well in this same video. But it's between those two, it kind of wrecks some of the part of the film, because it's like, oh, it's right in the middle. I'm trying to see what's going on between Avengers and Endgame. But that came to its advantage, as it helped it make $1 million, because it was like, oh, I want to go see what Captain Marvel is about before I see this last film, because she's gonna be in this. Alright, but we're gonna go past that one, and we're on number 15, and number 15 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, Ant-Man and the Wasp, I really enjoy this film. The Wasp is one of my favorite heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe since this film, and pretty much now. And the movie is just so much fun. It was like playing with action figures, but I'm like watching it, but it was like playing with action figures. It was pretty cool. Like the end credits, it was like playing with action figures and stuff through the whole movie. It was pretty good, and it had better action than the original. The Wasp is just a great character, great everything about that particular hero. The Ant-Man is awesome, like normal. He's, I mean, freaking Paul Rudd, dude. That dude is great. And like, he's just great. I can't really say much. This dude's just dope. Like, they get you invested in the characters pretty well. And the cons of this film are, it's in between Infinity War and Endgame, and that harmed this particular film as well. And then they didn't market it the same way as the Captain Marvels and the other things, so they kind of overlooked Ant-Man and the Wasp. And Ant-Man and the Wasp is the only Marvel film in the last 2 years that didn't crack $1 billion. And that's mostly because they didn't really market Ant-Man and the Wasp as a major thing, really. So we ended up with that being stuck in between Avengers, and a couple months later, it's not really given the fanfare of the Spider-Man, the Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel and Spider-Man made $1 billion, and both Avengers movies made $1 billion, and then Black Panther made $1 billion last year as well. So we get stuck where Ant-Man and the Wasp is the only movie that didn't make $1 billion, which harms the legacy of the film as well. And that's a con as well, because it wasn't able to perform box office on the level of the others. And then we're gonna get into number 14. Number 14 is the original Ant-Man. Now, the pros of this film are the amazing cast, the story is nice, I enjoyed it, the acting is great, the humor is excellent, just like Ant-Man and the Wasp, like just like the hilarity that ensues in these films. It has my personal favorite Stan Lee cameo in this film, with the ending part. It's just that was hilarious. Alright, and feels like a block, like all the pros for every movie down this list that I've mentioned in this particular video is they're all blockbuster types. Like, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's blockbuster. Like, the others necessarily didn't have, like, there's maybe one more movie on this list that doesn't have that super duper blockbuster feel like the others. But Ant-Man didn't have the big time, oh snap, this is an Avenger, this guy is the man, like the Thor does, or Cap does, or Iron Man does, or Vision gets when he comes in Age of Ultron, or Captain Marvel gets, or Black Panther. He doesn't have that big time guy feel like everybody else has. And he ends up being kind of like Hawkeye and Falcon. Like, he doesn't get his just dues, even though he's pretty dope. And we're going to close this video off on that. I'm going to thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.